Family is where we seek solace, but it's also where the deepest wounds can form. For those of us who've lived through decades, we know family isn't just warmth and support, it's unspoken expectations, hidden secrets, and sometimes cruel lies. This is the story of Lisa, a woman who opened her home to her stepsister Roxy after a dramatic divorce, only to be swept into a maelstrom of false accusations that threatened to destroy her marriage and life. Lisa's journey is a testament to resilience, a path of seeking truth, setting boundaries, and redefining family when trust is shattered. This story is for anyone who's grappled with betrayal from those closest to them, stood up for what's right, or wondered if healing is possible after such pain.
Family is where we seek solace, but it's also where the deepest wounds can form. For those of us who've lived through decades, we know family isn't just warmth and support, it's unspoken expectations, hidden secrets, and sometimes cruel lies. This is the story of Lisa, a woman who opened her home to her stepsister Roxy after a dramatic divorce, only to be swept into a maelstrom of false accusations that threatened to destroy her marriage and life. Lisa's journey is a testament to resilience, a path of seeking truth, setting boundaries, and redefining family when trust is shattered. This story is for anyone who's grappled with betrayal from those closest to them, stood up for what's right, or wondered if healing is possible after such pain. 2 months ago, Lisa's world shifted when her stepsister Roxy arrived, eyes brimming with tears and a story of a painful divorce. Roxy claimed her husband, Elrich, had cheated and emotionally abused her, and she was 4 months pregnant, penniless, and unable to live alone. Lisa's heart sank. As a sister, she felt a duty to help, despite her husband David, a calm high school teacher, expressing unease about Roxy. He said she always made him uncomfortable, but Lisa dismissed it, thinking he was being uncharitable. She urged him to agree, insisting family helps family. Roxy moved in, and at first, she seemed grateful, keeping to herself and pitching in with chores. Lisa felt relieved, believing she'd done the right thing. But her kindness was like opening a door to a storm she hadn't anticipated. Within weeks, subtle signs of trouble emerged. Roxy began wearing provocative outfits, short nightgowns, tight leggings, especially when David was home. She found reasons to linger near him, from the living room to the kitchen, with gestures that felt too close. David confided in Lisa, saying Roxy made flirty comments when she wasn't around and even brushed against him deliberately. Still trusting her sister, Lisa thought David was exaggerating. Perhaps Roxy was just awkward, craving attention after her painful divorce. She reassured him, suggesting it was a misunderstanding, that Roxy was hurting and needed time. Yet a small spark of doubt flickered in her mind, though she pushed it aside, unwilling to believe her sister could harbor ill intentions. For those who've chosen to see the good in someone despite a nagging instinct, we know the inner conflict. Lisa felt the tug between family loyalty and unvoiced suspicions. To support Roxy, Lisa threw her a baby shower, hoping to bring joy and unity. Roxy was emotional. The family gathered, and for a moment, Lisa felt hope that things were stabilizing. Gifts were opened, well wishes shared, and Roxy's smiles seemed genuine. But that harmony was a fleeting illusion before a devastating storm. The next morning, Roxy posted online, accusing David of sexually harassing her at the shower. She claimed he made lewd remarks, tried to touch her, and even attempted to kiss her. The post detonated their family. Lisa's stepmother, Claire, called, screaming in rage. Her father texted, expressing disgust. David's social media was flooded with threats, and parents from his school began demanding his dismissal. His career, built on dedication, teetered on collapse. Lisa tried talking to Roxy, but she sobbed, saying she feared Lisa was siding with her abuser. Claire backed Roxy, turning the house tense and cold. Lisa felt trapped in a nightmare, torn between her husband and family, unsure who to trust. For those who faced harsh judgment from loved ones, you know how swiftly trust can crumble, leaving isolation and doubt in its wake. The household became a pressure cooker. David confined himself to their bedroom, avoiding any interaction that could fuel more accusations. He wanted Roxy gone, but the family warned that would validate her claims. Lisa felt cornered, unable to act without hurting someone. Roxy played the victim masterfully, acting frail and hinting that stress could harm her baby. Yet when alone with Lisa, her tone shifted, sowing doubt with chilling precision. First Elrich, now David. "Why do men want me gone?" she asked, her voice pitiful but her eyes sharp. Lisa's suspicions grew, but guilt over doubting. A pregnant woman held her back. She tried to hold everything together, but the cracks in her trust widened. For those who've stood at the crossroads of loyalty and truth, you understand the torment wanting to believe in family, yet sensing something is deeply wrong. Everything changed when Lisa found Roxy's journal wedged behind the washing machine. Knowing she shouldn't, she opened it, and what she read shattered her world. Roxy had written about faking Elric's infidelity, rehearsing tears for a dramatic scene. An entry from before she moved in read, "David's always been attractive. Maybe this divorce is my chance to trade up. I just need to be patient and play my cards right." Another, from the day of the baby shower, was colder. "If he doesn't respond soon, I'll have to force his hand. Nobody will believe him over a pregnant woman." Lisa photographed every page, her heart pounding. David walked in, and when she showed him the damning entry, they were both stunned. The truth cut like a blade. Roxy wasn't a victim but a manipulator, plotting to ruin their lives. For those who've uncovered a loved one's deception, you know the feeling, a punch to the gut, blending fury and heartbreak. Lisa and David knew they had to act fast before Roxy realized her journal was missing. Soon after, Lisa's phone buzzed. Her neighbor, Maya, texted that she'd seen Roxy buying pregnancy tests months before mentioning her divorce, with dates aligning perfectly with her pregnancy claim. Lisa's blood ran cold. Maya added that her mother had doorbell camera footage showing Roxy sneaking out at night to meet a mysterious man, contradicting her accusations against David. The footage showed Roxy exchanging cash and documents. Lisa and David watched, their hearts heavy with the realization that Roxy's plan was long in the making. For those who've confirmed their suspicions with evidence, you know the mix of relief and pain when the truth surfaced. Lisa knew she needed more proof to stop Roxy, and she began to act. Lisa met Hannah, Roxy's best friend, who revealed a disturbing history of manipulation. Hannah shared messages from months earlier, detailing Roxy's plan to test David's boundaries and, if that failed, fabricate evidence to frame him. She'd done this before in college, falsely accusing an ex-boyfriend for a financial settlement. Lisa also contacted Elric's mother, Sandra, who provided more evidence. Security footage of Roxy planting lingerie in Elrich's car to frame him for cheating, and financial records showing she opened credit cards in his name, maxing them out. Roxy's pattern of manipulation became undeniable, a calculated web of deceit. For those who've found support from unexpected sources, friends, neighbors, even strangers, you know the value of allies in unmasking the truth. Lisa was building a case, but the pressure mounted as Roxy escalated her tactics. Roxy didn't relent. She staged a collapse at home, clutching her stomach and crying out in pain, prompting a rush to the hospital. There, she mentioned another baby, a new detail that jolted Lisa. Doctors found nothing wrong with her or the baby, yet Roxy continued her victim act. Meanwhile, a man named Kyle, seen in the security footage, showed up at Lisa's door. He said Roxy owed him money, and revealed she'd paid him to take photos of David that looked incriminating. Kyle handed over a USB with messages and photos, including a document outlining Roxy's plan: frame David, sue him, and, if that failed, target a life insurance policy. Lisa was horrified, realizing Roxy's ambitions went beyond money. She might be plotting something far more sinister. Online, Roxy posted cryptic messages to garner sympathy, while at home, she played frail, constantly hinting that stress endangered her baby. But Lisa noticed the performance. Her illnesses vanished when unwatched, her steps light when she thought no one saw. For those who've seen a liar grow reckless when cornered, you know their desperation can be their undoing. Lisa and David resolved to act before Roxy could go further. The turning point came when Claire, Lisa's stepmother, began to waver. Tom, Claire's husband, showed her pharmacy records. Roxy hadn't bought prenatal medications, only dozens of pregnancy tests. In a tense confrontation, Roxy's shirt shifted, revealing a silicone pregnancy belly. Claire, horrified, touched it, and the truth unraveled. Roxy tried to deflect, accusing everyone of fabricating evidence, screaming that they were gaslighting her. But faced with Lisa, David, Tom, and a mountain of evidence, security footage, Hannah's messages, Sandra's financial records, Roxy broke. She confessed. No pregnancy, no assault, nothing with David or Elrich. It was all a calculated scheme for money and control. She even admitted to a spreadsheet of potential targets in other cities' names, jobs, vulnerabilities. For those who've witnessed a liar exposed, you know the moment clarity mixed with pain, as you realize a loved one's betrayal. Lisa felt liberated, yet shattered by Roxy's deception. The fallout was swift. Claire collapsed emotionally, grappling with how long she'd believed Roxy. Her marriage to Tom strained, but he stayed, supporting her through therapy. David returned to school, fully cleared by the board after they discovered Roxy's fake name contacts. Colleagues and parents apologized, withdrawing complaints, and David's reputation slowly rebuilt. Lisa's family faced a painful reality, with wounds that would take time to heal. For those who've tried to rebuild trust after betrayal, it's a slow process, but truth can mend what lies destroy. Lisa and David glimpsed light at the end of the tunnel, though the road ahead remained long. Justice took shape. Elric's lawyer reopened the divorce case with new evidence of Roxy's fraud. She faced charges in multiple jurisdictions, and Kyle testified for immunity, confirming his role in her scheme. The fake pregnancy belly was found in her car trunk, along with forged prenatal appointment documents. The community began to see the truth. Withdrawing support from Roxy, other victims' men who'd quietly paid her to avoid ruin came forward. For those who've awaited justice, it doesn't erase scars but creates space for healing. Lisa and David, though scarred, began rebuilding, stronger than ever. As the storm passed, Lisa and David found their marriage fortified by the ordeal. They joined a support network with Roxy's other victims, including Elrich and men from other towns, meeting monthly to share stories, spot red flags, and help new victims. Claire entered therapy, wrestling with why she enabled Roxy so long. The community evolved too. The school board launched training on handling allegations fairly, and trust in David was restored. For those who've lost faith, healing isn't just personal, it's about rebuilding meaningful connections with those who value truth. Lisa found a new family, not in blood, but in those who stood by her when everything crumbled. Through this, Lisa learned to recognize warning signs, cherish truth, and set boundaries with those who hurt her. With David, Elrich, and others, she built a support network to aid those falsely accused, sharing ways to protect themselves and rebuild. For those who've lived through decades, we know healing is a choice to safeguard what's right, even if it means cutting ties with those who harm you. Lisa didn't just survive Roxy's betrayal, she reclaimed her strength and purpose, turning pain into a guiding light. She and David, alongside those hurt by Roxy, transformed their trauma into a community where truth is honored and trust rebuilt from the ashes. Lisa's story is a testament to resilience. From a family torn apart by lies, she found truth and rebuilt her life with those who earned her trust. For those who've seen years pass, we know family can wound deeply, but we can choose who our true family is, those who stand with you, not exploit you. Lisa's journey teaches us about trust, boundaries, and the power of standing up for truth, even when it breaks your heart. She didn't just overcome Roxy's betrayal, she forged a stronger marriage, a supportive community, and a new purpose. Her story reminds us that healing isn't a moment, but a series of choices to prioritize yourself, even when it demands immense courage. If Lisa's story resonates, pause and reflect. Have you faced a betrayal that made you question trust? Perhaps it's time to check records, seek support, or start a difficult conversation you've avoided. You're not alone. Lisa's journey is a beacon, reminding us we're not defined by betrayal, but by the life we rebuild. One night, reviewing photos of Roxy's journal, Lisa recalled the chilling line, "Nobody will believe him over a pregnant woman." But she proved truth is stronger than any lie. She and David stood firm, not as Roxy's victims, but as survivors, stronger than ever.